mark it on your mental calendar, because that's a big thing to make a trip like that. Monica is doing a webinar teleclass by telephone for money. Do you want to come up and share just a little bit? Yeah. It's online, so for anybody who's listening, so give us your website address where they can sign up.
Okay, so you would have to send me an email and I'll send it to you. So my email address is healyourmindnow.
Healyourmindnow
@gmail.com. And this is an experiential class where we go into our limited beliefs around money and transformation and release those blocks that we all share. I'm not good with money. Money is evil. You know, these crazy ideas that are in the consciousness. And when we do that, we shift not only our own mind, but the mind of everyone. So when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. That's the lesson that I live by. And so this is a thought process of letting go of our belief system, which is what A Course in Miracles is. And I've dedicated my life to that for 26 years. So now it's like, let's apply it to certain issues that we seem to be stuck in. So healyourmindnow @gmail.com, and I'll send you the link. You can sign up. It's Tuesday night. It's just 2 hours. Very powerful energy release. So thank you very much.
Awesome. I actually did a session with Monica, something called Marconic. She also does sacral cranial massage, sacral massage. So anybody who's here that wants to talk to her, it was amazing. It was just like kind of an energy shift. And Linda also has an astrology class, which starts on July 7th. What day is that, Tuesday? Linda Dudnath. And it's is it live in person? Yeah, here. It's going to be here at Unity on the River. Okay, so if anybody would like to join that, please see the lovely Linda. And then the final announcements is I see there's snacks. We don't just have one big jar of pickles this week. So if everybody, we're sort of going to change how we do the snacks now, because we've had a schedule of people having dates, but now we're just going to just bring something to share if you're really inspired to do so. And Living in Purpose begins on July 1st. So that's our 6-month mastery program. And it's just a very powerful way to really live the principles of A Course in Miracles. So that's the announcements. And I'd like to just start with a prayer. So what I'd like to do is ask everyone just to close your eyes. Whoever you are, just close your eyes. Become really centered in the space you are. Letting go of everything that you think you came here for today. Letting go of the past. And setting an intention that for the next hour that you're going to be present. That you're going to be present in this energy and in this love. And we're setting an intention now to live in love. And that's all that's required. Is a clear intention of what you want, and to open the space up, to become quiet in the stillness. And the self that you are, the Christ, it comes forth in the silence. It comes forth in this clean space. Thoughts about what you think is going to happen today, when you let go of any problems or difficulties that you have. And should breathe in deeply, and breathing out. Another deep breath in, breathing in, breathing out. And on the final one, just know it is light. This is the light that you are. It's not outside of you. It's not inside of you. It's what you are. So allowing this light. Breathe in, filling every cell in your body, filling your heart, your mind, your soul. This light is what you are. This love is what you are. And we thank you, Jesus, for A Course in Miracles. We thank you, Unity on the River, for the space that we can come together in celebration and love, that we remember the truth of who we are. Amen. And now, I'd like everyone, we're going to use this time to meet each other and greet each other. I've been getting messages from people online. I got one especially beautiful one from Kath Menegong, who's in Australia. So people are able to watch this from around the world. And here at Unity, we have become used to greeting the Christ in another and saying namaste. The Christ in me honors and recognizes the Christ in you. She'd never seen it before. She goes, oh my, she said she sits in Australia crying her eyes out in joy to see us all greeting each other in this way. Like, so if everyone could just stand, we're going to spend a moment just saying hello with a hug, with a namaste.
I got used to checking all the guys.
What is that?
Oh, that's funny. Namaste. That's funny.
Okay. Welcome back. Namaste. So, I'm super excited to bring up our awesome friend, Bill Free, who arrived back from Portugal last night at midnight. So, welcome, Bill Free.
Thank you, everyone. Well, I'm going to ask everyone to stand again. We're going to continue the Hindu tradition just a little bit. I'm going to ask everyone to get in a circle, and we're going to do 3 ohms. I've been doing it a lot while I was in Portugal, and you can just follow me. We're going to all join hands, and we're going to do 3 ohms, and this is a very sacred entry point, opening the mind and the heart to the presence and the power of self, the presence and the power that we are. So, can you just grab my my arm? There you go. So I'll start it. can squeeze your neighbor's hand and then relax into your own self for just a minute. And this really opens up. This is an entry point where there's no mind involved. It's the sacred vibration of God, where there's no words, there's no thoughts, it's just the presence. And in this silent state, this state of sacred presence, this is God. This is the God self. In between the words and the silence. This is your Sahaja. This is your natural state of being. This is where everything is accomplished, right here. In the silence. In awareness. And so it is. Thank you all. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was, I bring that as, actually, Lisa and I were the opening speakers in Las Vegas, and those of you that were there saw that I invited 500 of us to do the OMS in Las Vegas, and it was just, I mean, for me, I'll give you a story about it from Portugal when I was there. I've been in Portugal, for those of you that don't know. I was there for about two weeks and a few days. Just got back last night, and when you're at the ashram, and Mooji, and they call him Guruji now, and that might sound funny for Westerners, but the Indians, where Mooji spends every year, he spends a month in, it was Tiruvannamalai, they call it Tiru. Now he's moved to Rishikesh. And the Indians really felt that Mooji wasn't the Indian sound for guru. So they really sort of moved his name for India to Guruji, and that stuck. And a lot of the beings in Sahaja now call him Guruji or Mooji, and he doesn't really care what you call him. But one of the things that we do when we're in Portugal is we Om. If you work in the kitchen, you're on the dishwashing crew, or you're on team, or you're on you're cooking, or if you're on the construction team, or you're painting, no matter what it is, you start off with just honoring the sacred space first. Clearing the mind and starting your day and whatever you're working on in presence, in the power of presence. And it's so powerful. It's really kind of funny, because it's like a lifestyle. When you're at Sahaja, Oming is a lifestyle of, okay, it's like prayer. You don't start something without starting it from a state of no mind. So it really brings you at a starting point where there's no mind except the mind of God, the mind of Christ. And a couple of my friends were taking me to dinner one night last week, and we're running a little bit late. We're supposed to be there right at 8 o'clock. And somebody in the back of the car said, well, should we do 3 ohms and collapse time? So we're driving, and Portugal's pretty much. And we started doing it. All of a sudden, the whole car just ohming, 3 ohms. It wasn't a joke. It was a practice. And the difference between the teaching of Mooji and the Course in Miracles is only really words, identification. It's the same destination. And the practice of oming is just is entering into that sacred space and no mind. And one of the things that I've realized since I've been around Mooji and the beings at Sahaja is how many times and how many places the Course in Miracles refers to the self. The self. It's I am as God created me. We are the self. And when we start associating with the person, with the body mind, we've forgotten that we're the self. And so now we're tracking with structure, we're tracking with concepts, and we're tracking with layers of beliefs and ideas that have been given to us for a long time. And the ancient masters would say that we have been evolving into this consciousness. I mean, this is a big number, 35 million years. 35 million years. That's why. I mean, the Big Bang is where we thought we were separate. And whenever you are having trouble, whenever you believe you're having some kind of anxiety or you're having some kind of upset, we all have them, probably every day. And it's because in that moment we made this situation personal. We made it about the person, about a belief, and away we go. And that's where all the suffering occurs. But if you can get back into this state of presence, if you can get back to the state of no mind and not what it means is the mind creeps in this very subtle way, and it says, "Hey, you want to let me be in charge for a while? I got this thing." And you're really screwed then because and you don't notice it. You don't notice it. I was at the airport yesterday. I was telling Al, when we left Lisbon, it was so funny. It was such a mind training experience. The whole flight back yesterday, I really, really got tested almost and I tested myself. It's not like God tested me. The mind was checking in to see if I would give it the steering wheel all day long. And we were held up on the runway. We're backing out, everything's cool. I'm going, oh, nice seats. I like this plane. And we all of a sudden, we stop. And we're sitting there. I'm going, well, I guess we're going to take off in a minute. And so I put my head against the window and I fell asleep for almost an hour. I wake up, I'm still there. I'm still on the runway back there. I'm going, what happened? I thought I should be flying in the air right now. And the tower wouldn't let us leave, and then he had some kind of a thing with the pilot. And the pilot came on the radio and said, I think the tower is punishing us. They're telling us, now we've been sitting there for a little over an hour. He says they're telling us that we can leave at military hours, something like an hour and 18 minutes more. And we're all, this guy next to me is going, and I'm going, okay, I'm not disturbed yet. I'm good. So we fly, and we had a really great flight. We make it to Philadelphia, but we're 2 hours late now. And I only had 2.5 hours in between planes, so I figured I'm missing my plane. But they said they'll take care of that for us. Well, they've got people, you get off the plane, and they've got attendants there to give you replacement tickets. They didn't have mine. They didn't have my Boston ticket. So I'm going, and now you're into customs, and you got to go through customs and pick up your bag, all that other kind of stuff. I'm going, oh, no, okay. Well, I can feel that, though, that little irritation of, why didn't they have Boston? And I make it to the bags, and they had us going to the wrong carousel, and my bag isn't there. I'm going, oh, damn, I'm going to leave my bags, and I don't know if they're going to go, if they're going to make it to Boston. Well, that wasn't a real important bag. That was mostly dirty laundry, so the good stuff is right here. So anyway, I make it to the ticket count. I make it to got my bags. Both my bags showed up. Went through customs, made it to the gate, and I saw the plane out there still. I'm going, oh, I can get on, and they said, no, it's already too late. And I'm going, oh, okay. And this man and this woman they just came from Madrid, and they are pissed off. They are verbally pissed off, and people are saying, ma'am, could you control yourself? It's not in our control. Blah, blah. And then she turns to me, and she starts talking to me, and she starts saying, how could they do that? They're selling our seats. And I said, listen, it's out of your hands. I don't want to hear it. Just you don't have a choice in this matter. The choice that you can make is to be okay with it and not be upset and feel better, or just be upset and not feel very good. And so I was being, yeah, but that's not all of it. 5 minutes later.
Did that settle her down?
What?
Did that settle her down?
Actually, it did. I mean, I know she was kind of like, you know, and her husband, you know, I was just saying, look, I don't want to hear it. We have no choice in this. This thing's done. And I was being very cool. I was really pretty amazed with myself until about 3 minutes later, I go to sit down and I see standby people getting on my plane. And I'm going, what? Standby people are going ahead of me? I had a ticket. I still have the ticket. And they're going, no, we canceled your ticket. You weren't here. I'm going, well, can I get on the standby and get on?
Now she's like, young man, you have a choice.
Now, yeah. Now, I completely came unglued. You see how easy that happens? I completely came unglued. I was not very happy. I was, in fact, for almost a minute, I was pretty pissed off. I was going, what? I was looking for those two people so we could have a party. Pity party. But that's this training, though. That's this training, and I'm not guilty for blowing a gasket. We all blow those gaskets, and it's really the real telltale is, can you recognize the subtle entry point of the mind and get back into alignment? Can you recognize it and say, wait a minute, because that's the other part that I did. I went, oh, wait a minute, I see what's happening here. And I just really cooled it. The girl said, Mr. Free, I'm making you a standby passenger on the 7:15, and I'm on the next flight out. It leaves at 5:45, and I have you a confirmed flight at 7:15. And I said, okay, thank you. And then I went to another line. I had another whole thing happen, and I'm just going, da 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 da. So what happens in these moments like this? And where we accomplish, where we experience the mind training of the Course or Advaita, Vedanta, or the mastery of presence is when you notice the mind that wants to find those people to have a pity party. When you notice the mind that has a judge thought. Just noticing it. It's okay to have the judge thought. It's the best to notice it and don't touch it. Don't don't be that. If you can watch it pass by, that's the mastery that we're all really developing, and it's a developing practice, and it also does take practice. It requires practice. I mean, you guys know the routine. You can have peace, or you can have suffering, and you have a choice. Most of the time, it's a very subtle entry point where you say, "What?" It's like information. What? And in that nanosecond, information. What? You have a choice. Right? You have a choice of whether to be upset or just, that just happened. Okay, that just happened. I know that the universe is not only benevolent, it is looking for me to just be still so I can have the peace of God, so that I can be happy no matter what in every situation. And that was just the plain situation. That was it. But it was a beautiful experience for me to watch, I'm just telling you how I am. I think I got it together, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's not so together. It's the mind training of A Course in Miracles that it's helping us to just be aware. Just noticing is everything. If you can notice it and don't touch it, it's everything. And the Course in Miracles is it's our training device. I just got back from Portugal, and I have to say that Sahaja and Mooji, and there's on a regular day, there's about 150 people that live on the land. And then there's 2 days that are visitors' days now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and there's like 200 people on the land. And this place is, historically, you're going to know this is an ashram, and they've actually just purchased another 100 acres of land connected to the property called Sahaja Valley. It's more flat, it'll make better areas for building homes and neighborhoods. And the neighborhoods now, they're tent sites, and they're pretty rough. You gotta really be physical to make it up to Mount Everest or to Ananda Valley or to one of the neighborhoods where you're living in a hut or a terrace hut or a tent. There's no electricity. Everything is solar light. It's very primitive. There's compost toilets and sinks outside where you brush your teeth, and some of the showers are pretty primitive too. You take all the showers to conserve water. You take bucket showers. You're allowed to have a half a bucket of water. Allowed. They want to. They're using their resources in a very conservative way, just because their water table went down once when they had a lot of people just turning the showers on and letting them run. Now they're actually building lakes, and it's very nice. But I would say that Sahaja, the difference between Sahaja and that idea of teaching and what we practice is that they have a lifestyle mind training. It's a mind training lifestyle. It's based on Ramana Maharshi, or you can sometimes hear him called Sri Bhagavan, where the Bhagavad Gita came from. Ramana Maharshi was the master for Papaji, and Papaji was the master teacher for Mooji. And Mooji has a very interesting history because his mother was a devout Seventh-day Adventist Christian. So he grew up knowing about Bible verses and Jesus stories and judgment and hellfire and brimstone. So he has an interesting spin on being able to take the dualistic approach to what the Bible teachings are, and then look at them through the lens of non-dual teaching and see the real message of Jesus, and actually see the real message of Old Testament ideas and the real message of Paul. And you can really see through the mistakes that were made because the translator or the writer of those writings, they're really looking through the eyes of the mind. They were interpreting through duality. But once you pick up the mind training of the Course or Advaita Vedanta, you can start to see where, I think Paul kind of didn't get it right. And most Christians think that Paul was he was right there next to Jesus. He never met Jesus. And he also misinterpreted a lot of the mystical things that happened to him based on his dualistic training as a rabbi. Paul the apostle was a rabbi first before he became a famous apostle. But the thing that I wanted to share with everyone today is probably the most important teaching that is practiced at Sahaja and should be practiced by us. Really would take us a very long way in our transformation if we would pick up this one practice. You want to know what it is? It's silence. The best practice that we can attain, the best practice that we can actually really set ourselves to experience the self is the silence. The silence in between the words. You feel it, right? In between the words, the silence is where God self is. It's where the I of I am is. It's where nothing is outside of me. In that silent state, in the I am resides. And the way the mind trips us to not experience presence. You know, we did the Om a few minutes ago, and if your mind wasn't seducing you, you had an experience. You had a presence, God, self, Christ, mind experience. If you weren't being seduced by the mind. And the mind's game is to seduce us, distract us, keep us focused on the senses or beliefs or judgments or something outside of us to keep us from going into that inner space of the holiness of God that we are, that's only found in the silence. The Course says that words are 2 times removed from reality. Whatever that means, it sounds important. You know? The message of God is in the silence. There's one of my favorite workbook lessons is 125. In quiet, I received God's word today. In quiet. 125, I think that's right. In quiet, I received God's word today. In what? In quiet. It doesn't come in a word. In quiet, the mind is not there, or the mind that thinks it's a person is not there. In quiet, so in that space of quiet, I am open to divine mind. In that quiet space, in quiet, I received God's word today. Did you look it up? Is that right?
Your memory is awesome.
Well, yeah, it can be. That's one of my favorite ones because of this, because I realize, and this is how, what happened with the airport situation for me. This is where the benefits of the mind training and A Course in Miracles and Advaita Vedanta, the mind training, the knowing, the wanting to know thyself. Above all, I want to know thyself. This is where that comes in, because when you have a situation come up, no matter what it is, if you can just give yourself a pause of silence and in awareness, be aware of what you just did or felt or thought, just be aware of it in that silent state. This is why being silent is so vital to our awakening, to our transformation. Because in the quiet space is the being that animates what we're not, which is the body. In the quiet space, we go back to the self. And whatever the self looks at, when you acknowledge the self, when you acknowledge the self in the silence, you're remembering that you're one with everything. You're remembering that you're one with God. And when that happens, whatever the self that acknowledges itself sees from there, it completely burns it up in the light of itself. It completely burns up anything that's not true, anything that's not real. It's the light of God that sees it from the silence. And from that silent state, you step away from that and you absolutely are the mind of Christ. You'll walk away with certainty. You'll have clarity. You won't be disturbed by the mind game that you were running on yourself because you went into that quiet state. And we have that available 24/7. We have it available. And that's why the Course wants to teach us, it wants to teach us to practice these things, to practice being silent, to practice being quiet. I rest in God is an experience of realizing that you let the mind seduce you for a moment, but you can change your mind just by noticing it, not by analyzing it, not by calling a friend and saying, "Do you know what happened?" Or not. But the best resolve is to just notice. Turn the light on. Bong! Turn the light on, and all the shadows dissolve. All the shadows dissolve. I was reading this morning. I had the best time. You know, I went a long time with no sleep. And then when I got up this morning, I got up at like 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. Finally, when I got up at 4:30, I said, "Man, I'm going in the hot tub." So I went out and got in the hot tub. I had this great hot tub experience. Beautiful, just so wonderful to be home and to be back from the primitive life. I love Mooji, but man, I also love my home and the comfort of my home. I love my wife, and it was so nice to be received by her at the bus station last night. But this morning, I did that, and I went into one of the chairs that is looking at the river, and I was guided to open up the introduction to the workbook lessons 170 to 180. And it was so good that I just want to share one little piece with you. That it was given to me by Self on the way flying back from Lisbon, that I am to integrate the ideas of Advaita and A Course in Miracles, and really focus on A Course in Miracles and pull the non-dual aspect, the non-dual teaching out of the Course, starting with Workbook Lessons 175. So I couldn't wait to see what 175 was. And I went to the first I looked at 175, and I didn't realize it was a series of lessons, because I was thinking it was, 175 itself is, what is it? 159. Is what? 159 or 160? No, well, 170, oh yeah, 175 is 159 and 160. So I went to the introduction on this, the review. How many in here have read most of the introductions to the workbook lessons? Good, good. They are probably the most important part in the workbook. There's an introduction to each series. The reviews, yeah. It's called the introduction, and the reviews. It's probably the most important part of the workbooks.
That one that you're doing now, that you're on.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
You are.
And
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. I
Yeah.
read it every day.
Okay. They can't hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Bonnie is over. Bonnie is saying that they. Oh, you know what? I forgot to. Did you welcome the live streamers? Okay, good. Because I didn't. Yeah. Welcome, live streamers. I love you. I bless you. So I was looking at this lesson this morning, 175, and oh my God, it's just, yeah, it's amazing. It's powerful. Jesus says in this workbook lesson, we recognize we are preparing for another phase of understanding. We recognize we are preparing for another phase of understanding. We would take this step completely, that we may go on again more certain, more sincere, with faith upheld more surely. Our footsteps have not been unwavering, and doubts have made us walk uncertainly and slowly on the approach this course sets forth. But now we hasten on, for we approach a greater certainty, a firmer purpose, and a surer goal. This introduction lesson, when you turn the page, it goes to what I wanted to bring your attention to on the next page. He says, every step we take brings us a little nearer to the goal. It says, God is but love, and therefore so am I. That's the italicized piece of this introduction. God is but love, and therefore so am I. And that's the repeat lesson on these review lessons. God is but love. He says, this self alone knows love. So this self that we identified in the quiet space, that's love. So if we want to identify with our true self, our natural state, our sahaja, we identify with love. And we do that in the quiet place. Which means that if we notice that our peace is disturbed in any way, because something unexpected happened, that happens to every single one of us, it caught me off guard. Right? Caught me, I wasn't expecting that. Well, you're dealing with your own mind, and it's going to bring that stuff in because it wants to drive. It wants to drive, and it wants you to let it drive. But you have to let it drive. It just happens so fast, you have to be really vigilant and watching. This says, this time you leave, let me read the sentence before that. You have reached, the choice you make today is certain, for you look for the last time upon this bit of carven stone you made and call it God no longer. You have reached this place before, but you have chosen that this cruel God remain with you in still another form. And so the fear of God returned with you. This time you leave it there, and you return to a new world, unburdened by its weight, beheld not in its sightless eyes, but in the vision that your choice restored to you. Now do your eyes belong to Christ, and He looks through them. Now your voice belongs to God, and echoes His. And now your heart remains at peace forever. You have chosen him in place of idols, and your attributes given by your Creator are restored to you at last. The call for God is heard and answered. Now has fear made way for love, as God himself replaces cruelty. And on the next page it says, this review will shorten time. Every step we take brings us a little nearer. This review will shorten time immeasurably if we keep in mind that this remains our goal. And as we practice it, is this to which we are approaching. Let us raise our hearts from dust to life as we remember this is promised us, and that this course was sent to open up the path of light to us. So this course was sent to open up the path of light when we have these little disturbances. When these things happen to us, we are the self. We have the light. And the only thing we need to do to turn it on is just to get quiet and practice being silent. Let us raise our hearts from dust to life as we remember this is promised us, and that this course was sent to open up the path of light to us and teach us step by step how to return to the eternal self we thought we lost. To teach us how to return to the eternal self we thought we lost. If you knew that being quiet, not being so social, was going to get you back to your eternal self, would you do that? Would you be less inclined to want to ask someone all about their past? You know, we're addicted to we hook up with somebody we don't know, so what do you do? And now we're sizing up, I wonder if they do what, I wonder if I can judge their vocation, or if I wonder, and tell me about where you live, and tell me about this. Instead of really being focused on right now, being present, and just engaging with this being where they are, we're conditioned to want to just like go into their past. Now, if someone wants to talk about their this amazing experience, their child brought this up, or this happened, or something that's really present, that's one thing. But most of the time we bring people into the past, or we bring ourselves into the past by doing that, and instead of being present. And one of the practices that I notice at Sahaja that we do when we're in Portugal is when we're eating. I don't know about you when you're eating, but if Lisa and I are eating, of course, if we're having dinner, that's like that's really I love it. I love talking. So I'm saying that we don't not talk, but you don't just gab. You don't just have small talk, and you really try to be present in your relationships with people. And the reason that I'm speaking about this is because one of the guidelines at Sahaja for 150 people is that at dinner time, you don't talk. There's no talking. And if you have to say something, whisper. Whisper. Just allow people to just be in this silent state. Allow people to develop a habit of the silence. How does that sound for everyone? Develop the habit of the silence. Most of us say, I got to say something because it's too quiet. Well, who's saying that? Who's got that commentary? It's the thing that wants to drive, that takes our peace away, that keeps us thinking that we're a person. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't experience person stuff, but you have to come, if you want to have the experiences that the course offers, you have to practice the real stuff. You can't just read the stuff and concepts and say, oh, well, I love that workbook lesson. Oh, yeah, that's killer, man. That's awesome. And then, pop, 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 pop. You know, you have to come to a place where you actually practice what it says. Because if you identify as the person and you know the course front to back and you know all the workbook lessons, you memorize all the text, you know exactly how many pages are in it, great information, but you're probably not going to get enlightenment. You're probably just going to be a good informer. You're going to be very informed Course in Miracles student. And the intellect is completely of the ego. The mind wants to run the show, and it's very clever and very smart. And it'll keep you from having the peace of God. It'll make you a very smart Course in Miracles teacher, student, whatever. So it's my encouragement to everyone here and everyone that's live streaming is, you know, take a toll on yourself and just ask within, just say, am I being quiet enough? Am I really, I just want to take a look at if I'm really practicing as a being. If I'm really practicing, unless you don't care, unless you want to, you know, come back another, it's okay. It doesn't matter if you want to be another lifetime or another 25 or another 1,000 lifetimes. Doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter to me. But if you're really serious about this path, if you're really serious about what the Course offers, and you really, really want to identify with that Christ that Jesus identified with 2,000 years ago, you have to really listen to the silence. You have to bring yourself to a space where you give yourself space. And you're not guilty if you're not doing it now. I'm not saying that you're guilty. I'm just saying that this is what's being offered to me. This is what is being given to me, is that I'm just saying I see something in this silence state, and I think it's important to consider. And having said that, I just would like to open up the floor to anyone that has any comments about it, questions. There were a couple of people that had questions, and who would like to share from that? Do you still have a question? Would you give her that mic, please?
Pass it back here, sister. I have been meditating and doing yoga for about 21 years, so I honor all that you're talking about in the silence. However, the silence is where my ego and my negativity claws me apart, so that it can be a struggle, not all the time, but it can be a real struggle to be silent, because that voice is sometimes deafening. What to do?
Well, I think you're being given a gift by the fact that what notices that? You want to? What notices the activity that is the mind? What sees that?
Well, it jumpstarts my anxiety, first of all.
Who's the my?
The ego.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in the silence is the space where that is being seen, right? And if you don't engage it, if you just allow, there's something that sees that activity. What sees that activity?
The presence. My presence.
So what to do? Stay there, shining a light on it. Because to go into meditation is Jesus says it in the Course. It's long, it's tedious, and it's unnecessary. to spend long periods of time in meditation. So if you're doing it to get somewhere, it's a trap. And Jesus identifies it as a trap. It's something you may want to reconsider about meditation. In my mind, meditation is only and always for finding the space of what I am and allowing everything to rise in front of that, knowing that I am invulnerable, that I am the presence, and this is just happening. This is just happening, and if I don't touch it, it can't touch me. And this is where the power of presence will absolutely dissolve all concepts, all beliefs, all masked tyranny. It will completely dissolve it if you give it the awareness of presence. You are all that is. You are what God is. And that presence state shines a light on those false beliefs and those false experiences that are that appear to be happening. So that's my suggestion is just to look at maybe going into meditation a little bit differently and do it for short periods of time. I think long periods of time is just crazy.
Thank you.
I have a question too. I've been trying to go to the silence more. I'm retired. It's lovely. I want to go in my backyard in the garden and just sit in silence. My problem is there's a woman who lives downstairs who's in some Christian cult or something, and she prays out loud all day long, 24 hours a day. It's very disconcerting. And she speaks in tongues, I guess, and just screams at the top of her lungs, "Ah, yeah, 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 Jesus!" Just after 24 hours a day, it really wears on you.
Can you stop right there?
Yep.
Whatever's irritating you, if you can allow that to be the place where you are aware of your feelings, of your thoughts, your senses, your annoyances. If you don't have any choice and she lives there, you either move or you come into a practice that will really allow bombs to be set off next to you and you're undisturbed. You really can be a master, or you can say, however, this is going on. Well, you've just given the mind the steering wheel and you're letting her drive. So you really have to step into the power of presence. You have available the power of the universe that's just waiting for you to. You have to practice it. You really have to practice. It has to be something that you want more than anything. Is living in the presence of self. You can't just make it a hobby. It has to be something that you are determined to master. The first workbook lessons in the course talks about, I love these ones because they say, above all else, you have to take dominion over the mind that thinks it's a person. And you have to say, above all else, I want to have the peace of God with this neighbor. Above all else, I want to know the peace of God and live it. Holy Spirit, look at this with me. And it may seem difficult at first, but I guarantee you, if you practice it, it works.
Yeah,
I know
we've come leaps and bounds.
Pardon me?
We had a lot of resentment going on for a couple of years,
That's
and I've
a story.
really worked on it. So it's
Yeah.
been good. It's
Yeah.
just been good. It's just being home is a different situation,
Yeah.
but I'm working on it.
Good. Got to work on the grievances too, because they're letting that mind have a closet to hide in. You got to get rid of the grievances.
I just have a question about when you say you change your, you go to that place. Who's making the decision? So it's actually your ego that's making the decision. So if you go into silence,
For me,
for anybody.
it depends on who's driving. At first, Jesus uses the mind that we think we are, to help us to recognize what we really are. So in the beginning, he kind of tricks us into thinking that the mind is doing the Course in Miracles. Everybody that's doing the Course in Miracles, when they first start it, or when they get on a spiritual path, that's the mind. That's the mind that wants to be on a spiritual path to get somewhere. But the Course is really an amazing document. Jesus tricks us into training the mind to flip it, so that we come to a place where we can actually recognize that I gave what I'm not, the false self, the steering wheel. And he does it so subtle and so wonderfully that it unlocks the doorway into our true nature, into our true self. So once you get to know and practice the Course and you become more mature as the self, then the self totally is the one that says, "Oh, wait a minute! I see. I almost gave I almost gave the keys to the mind. I'm taking it back."
Okay.
So you just self-identify. That's what the Yogananda. That's what the sages do, and the masters. They self-identify. How much time do we have on the live stream? 5 minutes. Good.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
I just wanted to say on the meditations, Mother Teresa had said that with practice we come to a constant state of prayer, and with that, when you find that silent spot, I know I've experienced to where I get silent, and then when I hear that very gentle voice, "I got this," I know I have the connection, the fire's lit, and then I am in that constant state of prayer because God has my back.
Yeah. Does it when you hear the "I got this"?
Mhm.
Does it have a feeling with it?
It comes from inside, and
Yeah.
it comes with a warmth, and it comes
Yeah.
with like a cosmic hug, a huge hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is actually beyond the senses. It's a palpable experience that's beyond the senses. And one of the things that if we would practice the silence, if we would practice just being still for small, short moments of time, just being still, or notice, and also don't get caught up in stories. Then we'll notice that we're no longer being led by the senses and by our beliefs and by our past, but we make a connection. Lisa has had a thing that she called the click. And it's the click. You know, the click, you click in. You can click in right now. We clicked in the Om. And some of you that were uncomfortable with that, if you were, or not familiar with it, it doesn't matter. Just watch the mind that would judge it or want to make fun of it, or anything that would cause you to doubt about the experience of what the silence is. The silence is really the meeting place where we don't hear an audible voice, but we plug into our total relationship with God, with presence. Linda?
I was thinking about my desire to help someone else, like a friend who, I have a situation where people hate her and she doesn't want to go there. She's like running away. I'm like, it's not them, it's, and I'm trying to tell her.
So what's the question?
Whereas it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I should just plug into the silence, because she apparently is not hearing what I wanted to hear.
Okay, so are you saying while you're having dialogue with this person?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not useful, the results seem to be.
So actually, the thinking that's saying that is the mind. And if you can go to the place where that's being seen, if you can go to the place that's going, that actually is in the background saying, oh wow, look at how the mind is judging this person right here. Look at how the mind is really getting ready to run a story or running something in the background. That is being seen by that silent space, because the silence doesn't judge, it doesn't separate, it doesn't make her different from you. The silence just is.
So there's nothing to tell her?
Absolutely nothing to tell her. There's only for you to watch what you are telling you. Just watch the mind that's running in the background, and be aware of that. And don't touch it. Just don't, because you'll say, I think I have to say something. And sometimes you do have to say something. But if you say something and not try to get into the story, it'll come with certainty, and it'll be short and sweet, and it will be it'll just be real fast. If it adds a story or a situation, you touched it.
So why are you talking?
You just asked me a question.
No, you started this whole thing.
Okay. We have 5 minutes? Okay.
No, that wasn't mean. That wasn't to be mean. I think you.
Oh,
I didn't mean to be mean.
why am I talking?
Yeah, that's what I.
You asked me a question.
Okay, thank you. I love you, Bill.
I love you too. Thank you. Anyone else? Monica?
I sat with a Buddhist monk the other night and had the experience that he had us pair off, where we just sit with each other and allow each other to first speak and totally listen with nothing, no commentary. And then we reversed it, so we got to do that ourselves. Very interesting, because you so want to jump in and go, oh, I have an answer. I have a solution. And it was just like, no. Let them speak. No comment. It was very interesting, because my mind really was like, oh, I do jump in. I do want to fix. And so I love this teaching, and I believe that it's very, very helpful. The second exercise was we sat with each other and just looked in each other's eyes. One was extending and one was receiving. We've probably done this in retreats before. But it was a profound experience, because I got to do it with him. And his I've never really been in a practice where I'm sitting in silence. I do the lessons and I do, I release my thoughts. But this was extraordinary, because he said to me afterwards, do you do this a lot? And I said, no. But he said, well, I feel that you're not separate and you're aware of that. And I said, absolutely. So the Course in Miracles has this all built in. If you really are doing it, if you really are reading, not just reading the lesson, but it has the answer within each lesson. I am upset about blank. My other unloving thoughts about blank are keeping me in hell. But my holiness is my salvation. If you really did that lesson, it just does it for you. It's extraordinary. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate this today, Bill. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Yeah, the course is. We have 2 minutes left. Okay, the course is. I like the way you use that. It's built in. It is built in. The course uses. It's a mind training. It's an undoing, but it's a mind training that's using the ego that we made up to undo itself. And then we step into the living presence of God. We step into living A Course in Miracles. We step into living the presence. And I'm just being reminded, and I'm bringing a message back from Portugal, from an experience of being with 150 beings that are practicing the silence. I'm telling you what, it really works. It really works. The silence, there's no small talk. So just take a look at your small talk. Are you just wasting a bunch of words and staying a person? Or do you really want to be vigilant for God and know thyself as the Christ, as the self, and have the boundless benefits of the universe that wants to flow in your direction with all of it because of that? That's what we all want. We want that. So thank you all for joining with me today. This has been my joy to be here. I'll be gone for about a month. Lisa and I are going to Florida on Tuesday, and then we're going to go to Texas, and I'm going to remodel my daughter's kitchen for a couple of weeks, and we're going to hang out with my 5 grandchildren in San Antonio. We're going to do a couple of workshops. Are we off air? Okay. We're going to do a couple of workshops. We're going to have a couple of gatherings. I think we're going to be in St. Augustine, Florida, sometime next week. And then in Texas, we might be in Wimberley, and we're definitely going to go to Linda Whitsett's church in San Antonio. So if you guys online are in the area and you want to hook up with us, connect with Lisa on Facebook. And I love you. We bless you. And we thank you for joining with us. Bye-bye.
The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God.